Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. Happy Palm Sunday. I'm Reverend Mary Murray Shelton. I'm the community spiritual leader here for Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. And welcome to all those of you who are joining us online this morning from wherever you are. I hope you're having a beautiful spring like we are here. So one of the things that we want to do at the very beginning is make sure that everybody has a chance to say hello and be welcomed. So I want to invite you now to stand up, introduce yourself to those you haven't met before, welcome people back you haven't seen in a while, and you online. Give yourself another cup of coffee. Take a moment to be joyful on this beautiful morning, and we'll be right back to sing a song in just a moment as a group. No, I have a Band-Aid on there, a bandage. I do have a bandage, but no funny shoe. All right. All right. We have Justin back with us this morning, and he has done this wonderful thing. He just finished at the end of March doing a show with a bunch of kids from 5th grade to 8th grade, doing an edited version of Into the Woods, which is not an easy show to do. And I guess they had a great time, and it was a huge success. So congratulations, Justin. Well done. We appreciate that you did that for the kids. And this is the other thing that Justin does. He goes and looks for, on other churches' websites, what's interesting music that's coming up that people are doing or singing.
Other centers?
What did I say?
Oh, churches. Sure.
Other centers for spiritual living. Yeah, other centers for spiritual living. So this song came from the Atlanta church, and we've tried to figure out who wrote it, but we don't know yet. But please stand, and Justin will show you how we're going to sing this. It's not difficult.
Sing this with me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. As I open and allow, I know right here and now, I create a world where wonders never cease. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. We sing one more time. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. As I open and allow, I know right here and now, I breathe the love of God through me.
And I do want to apologize. I didn't tell Amanda Justin was here until this morning, and we were already on our way, and so she didn't have any of her shakers. So magic happened this morning in running in here and trying to find anything that would make noise so that she could do the shakers this morning. So not as fun as her regular ones, but they make noise. Yeah. So thanks, Amanda and Justin, both. We appreciate you guys. Yeah. Creativity and innovation, we love it. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and turn within to bring ourselves to center. Now that we've found our way in our bodies and we found our voices, we're going to move to the inner realms and center in. So I'm going to invite you to go ahead and silence your cell phone so it won't go off accidentally during the service. And Leslie Janetti is our morning prayer practitioner. She's going to come up now and do our opening for us.
It's with the deepest spirit of gratitude that I breathe the heart of God, recognizing there is only one heartbeat through the universe, and that each one belongs to the universe, and the universe belongs to each one. Every breath is a prayer to the one infinite life, and every breath is an avenue of expression to the one infinite life, that there is absolutely no separation. So I speak my word for each one, and I claim an opening in heart and mind and consciousness for the light within that is always seeking greater self-expression, the light which is always reaching through each one in its beautiful vision of the soul expressing in every moment and in every place. And allowing the soul to be the guide is allowing for the greatest, most beautiful experience of life itself. And in today's service, every word that Reverend Mary speaks is spirit made manifest. It is life expressing. It is an avenue for deep connection and oneness. Today's talk is an opening for each one to align with the greater good and to experience unity consciousness. I give thanks in advance for the ways and means that each one will know the breath of God by means of this service. And I bless each one with the heart of the breath of God itself through Reverend Mary, bringing us all together in one unity, one unifying love. I release my word now to the law of mind, which embraces my word into itself, bringing it into a perfect form which is ideal for each one, and so it is.
Sometimes a shadow may fall on your heart. The struggles of life can drive us apart, and the words fly in haste, leaving us both in the dark. But all of His patient and all of His kind, through frustrated tears, love is beside you when morning appears. I will be. When the morning comes, I will be here. The darkness is cold and it's lonely for one. There's no turning back. The damage is done, and it seems like we'll never laugh like we used to do. But all of His patient and all of His kind, through the frustrated tears, love is beside you when morning appears. I will be. When the morning comes, I will be here. I'll never leave you. I will never leave your side. Don't go to bed angry to wrestle all night. The brightness of morning will make it all right. So sleep soundly and know there's nothing I won't do for you. Ooh. Yes, all love is patient and all love is kind. Through the frustrated tears, love is beside you when morning appears. I will be. When the morning comes, I will be here. I'll never leave you. I will never leave your side. All love is patient, all love is kind. Through frustrated tears, love is beside you when morning appears. I will be. When the morning comes, I will be here.
Thank you, Justin and Amanda. So it's Palm Sunday. You know, Palm Sunday is supposed to be the day that Jesus rode in triumph into Jerusalem. And somehow or other, in my mind, whenever I see that procession, I think to myself, he is uneasy about this. So in the Gospels, it sounds like he's given direction to, go and find this colt of a donkey. I'm going to ride into Jerusalem on this humble animal. And all the people put palms down on the ground and their coats down on the ground. Palms were a symbol of triumph, of victory. And the coats down on the ground were their acknowledgement of him and their recognition of him as what they hoped he would be, which was a political savior to being under the thumb of Rome. But I think I'm wondering, does he know what's coming in a week? Is he concerned about what's ahead of him? Did he expect all this hoopla when he came into Jerusalem? Did he expect the people to come out and do this? And I'm thinking about the song in Godspell that goes with this, which is kind of an extended translation of the word Hosanna, which means save or save us. And so there's a song in Godspell, it is, when wilt thou save the people, O God of mercy, when? That Jesus sings. But the question on Palm Sunday is, I don't know, is that his inner question? Is he wondering who's going to save them because it sure ain't me? Or what is he actually thinking as they're worshiping him, really, as this grand Savior? You know how we get attached to certain people who are larger than life and we think, oh, they know. They're going to do the saving. They're going to do the leading. They're going to do the transformation. And actually, the message always comes back around. If we need to be saved, we're the ones who have to do the saving. It's really not somebody else out there. So here we are Palm Sunday, like entering into Holy Week from the Christian tradition, but also this is the beginning of Passover at the same time. And of course, Jesus was celebrating Passover when he got arrested. He was in the process of doing that Jewish remembrance Seder meal with those closest to him and saying those prayers and eating those foods in that particular order, doing that whole observance, because as we know, Jesus never heard of Christianity. He was a Jew. He was practicing his faith, his Jewish faith. And so he goes from this, everybody worshiping him like he's, the best thing since unleavened bread. And the next weekend, they're saying, crucify him. I mean, how many political leaders go through a shift that huge in 1 week from, oh, you're God, to crucify him? This is definitely borderline personality behavior of the population at that time, to just flip on him like that. When we talk about this year of rising higher and growing deeper, it's kind of an invitation to lift ourselves up past our habitual ideas of what's so and judging what we see, and growing deeper in a larger understanding, moving beyond the assumptions that we typically make. And April, of course, being renewal, rebirth, being that because of Easter, of course, I stuck it in there because of Easter, but also we see that happening all around us in Sonoma and Marin counties, that spring cannot contain itself. It's coming forth with so much rebirth and renewal. So today I want to talk about this idea of growing deeper, getting deeper, and plants that grow deeply and grow broadly intertwine with other plants. They support each other in rising up. They support trees. They support each other with nutrients. If they understand through the root structure communication that there is a tree or a plant that is diseased or ill or not doing well, nutrients get sent in that direction, messages go out in other ways. We don't hear any of that. We don't pick up on that communication, but that doesn't mean it isn't there, right? So it depends on what we are interpreting with our five senses, what we assume something means. Story about a little boy who got lost at the YMCA and found himself in the women's locker room, this little 5-year-old boy. And as soon as he was spotted, the room burst into shrieks with women running for towels and running for cover. And this little boy was confused. He stood there baffled and he said, "What's the matter? Haven't you ever seen a little boy before?" Their assumption was, oh my God, he shouldn't see me uncovered like this. His assumption was it was just a room full of women. He wasn't concerned about the clothing. At 5 years old, sometimes my son used to do this. We'd go and stay at a friend's house, and she had a little girl younger by some months, maybe a year, younger than Luke was. And she'd be babysitting, and I'd call on the phone to find out how they were doing, because I was in ministerial school at the time. And she'd say, oh, they're fine. Bruno, she had a big Great Dane. Bruno's out in the backyard keeping an eye on them. And she said, they have been, oh dear, she said, they've taken all their clothes off again. So when you're that age, taking clothes off and being naked is kind of just a great freedom and nothing really to worry about too much. And I imagine that's how this little guy took it. But his point of view was not the same as the adult women's point of view. And they were not perceiving correctly what his experience was of having wandered into the locker room. Probably he just wanted somebody to tell him which way he was supposed to go to find out where he needed to be. So he's communicating something to them from his perspective that they're not quite getting. And I think that all of us have had that feeling. If you can go back to the time you were a little kid, or something seemed so clear to you and nobody around you was taking it the way you were taking it. They weren't understanding what you were saying or what you were seeing or how you were feeling about it. Or vice versa, being a parent or an adult or a teacher who completely misses what some child is trying to communicate to you. Can you relate to that? So I want to talk to you this morning about something kind of weird. I want to talk to you about communication that is nonverbal. And I'm not just talking about body posture or tone of voice. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about communicating without words. Now, most of the time, for adults who pray, this is kind of how we pray. We pray in our heads. We pray our prayers silently. So a couple of weeks ago, I came across a podcast, and I don't remember how I came across it now, about non-speaking autistic people, and the discovery through this research that pretty much all non-speaking autistic people are telepathic, and they communicate with each other that way. And they not only communicate with each other, but it doesn't matter where they are. So there is a place in consciousness they call the hill, and it's called Talk on the Hill. They go to the hill to talk to each other. People in Denmark talk to people in Japan, talk to people in Australia, talk to people in the United States. They can access each other that way from there. The problem we have is twofold. First of all, we determine people's intelligence sometimes incorrectly by their physical behavior. Now, one of the problems if you're autistic is regulating your body. You don't have control over your body. So your body's doing all sorts of stuff that wouldn't necessarily be what you would be telling it to do. And no matter what you tell it to do, it doesn't do that, it does something else, or it does nothing. All right? One young man said he didn't realize he had a body. And he said, in my mind, my body doesn't move. So the way that this started to become known, and it's very, in some circles, it's very hush-hush because teachers can lose their jobs. Physical therapists, occupational therapists who say the word telepathy or discuss that these kids read their minds, they get fired. They lose their licenses. So they don't talk about it. In circles, where groups meet to talk about their autistic children, they're very quiet about this, and those that know more about it and want to talk about it get hushed. Because, oh no, that's not scientific. We can't talk about that. That isn't proven. Well, in fact, it is proven. There's a huge amount of research out there that indicates that not only is this possible, it's happening all the time. And I listened to discussions of this experimentation where the parent would sit on the other side of the room from the kid who wasn't actually paying attention. It didn't seem like, anyway. Was not looking in that direction, nothing. They would use a random number generator and show the number to the parent. And these kids can't speak, of course, or at least mostly don't speak. So they use spelling machines that they learn well enough to control their bodies to be able to point at letters or hit letters on an iPad and communicate with 100% accuracy what that parent was looking at. Whatever the number was, whatever the word was. They even had them take a Bible and open it up randomly, pointed to a word for them. The parent would look at that, and no matter how obscure that word was in the way that it was spoken, in this language translation of the Bible, that kid would reproduce that word exactly. So they've begun to type their thoughts, to communicate by spelling. They're called spellers, to answer questions, and their message is very much what you get when you interact with somebody who has Down syndrome. It's all about love, producing love, giving love, being a vehicle for love, opening up. So with the parents, one mother said she could be watching a video of some demonstration with her son, who is autistic. And he will say to her, "Why are you watching this with me while you're thinking about her, or you're thinking about this situation, or it's distracting. Can you calm your mind down? It's distracting." And so the parents have found the best way that they can be present and communicate is to clear their minds as much as possible. And when they're doing these tests, some of the teachers say when they want to make sure they're not influencing the kid, they would just say to themselves inwardly, "Pumpkin, pumpkin, pumpkin, pumpkin," so that they don't think about anything else while this kid is trying to do whatever it is they're trying to do. And the vastness of their knowledge is phenomenal. Many of them understand multiple languages. One Spanish teacher said, "This kid knows more than my own kids know Spanish." And not just Romance languages, Chinese, Russian, Japanese, Hindi, So there's this phenomenal access to information and knowledge. And when they're asked how they learned these things, they will often say something like, "Well, I go to the hill and so teaches history if I want to know history." Another autistic person. Or, "God taught me." Or, "The gods taught me." Some child was asked once, when you say the gods, when you're talking about different gods teaching you things, do you mean different gods, really? Or are you talking about different aspects of God or different names for God? And the kid said different names. What they say, these kids, when they're talking about their experience and what's so about the human condition, some of them are prophetic. They can talk about things that are going to happen, and they happen. They can read, some of them only read a parent, their mother, generally speaking. But some of them can read anybody. Like one kid he's a Marine. He didn't believe his twin brother could do this. And his twin brother demonstrated in a way that convinced him that he could do it. And somebody asked this Marine, "Well, it's not common for Marines to believe in this kind of stuff. So what do you do with your colleagues when they don't believe you, when you say that he can do this?" He said, "Oh, I bring him home and let him do it. I've seen it. So I know he can do it." And so he could read anybody's mind. Now, think about this. One mother who said she had 5 kids, she was divorced, her husband had been abusive. The autistic son was the oldest one in the family. And another one of the kids was being abused by this father, but she didn't know it. So after all this time, when she finally got to communicate with this kid, he was already 17 years old before he learned how to do this. He told her about all these things that had happened, which she verified with this other kid. And she said, "What's awful about this is not only that this child went through all these awful experiences, but that he heard it all mentally and could not do anything, and could not tell me, and could not get help, because, of course, he had not got the regulatory ability on his physical body." What I discovered in listening to this, it just blew open my circuits, is the recognition that they're hearing what's going on in our heads. Now, that's a scary thought when you think of some of the things that go through your mind, Like these poor kids are dealing with all of this stuff. No wonder they get emotionally dysregulated. Ernest Holmes, our founder, was very interested in everything the mind could do. And so Ernest Holmes went to a lot of seances, table tapping, disembodied voices. He went to everything he could think of that might have to do with the human mind and asked himself, how does this happen? Is this really picking up on somebody else? Or is this reading the subconscious? Or what is it they're doing? He was fascinated, and he wrote this in the original version of the Science of Mind from 1926. Now, the one that we use for classes was revised in 1938, but there's a whole chapter on psychic phenomenon in the original text. And this is one of the things that he said. There is within man, now remember, this is 1926 when he wrote this. There is within man a power that can communicate without the tongue, hear without the ear, see without the eye, talk without the mouth, move ponderable objects and grasp things without the hand, and perform many other feats that are usually connected only with the physical instrument. He had seen it, he had witnessed it and experienced it, and he believed in its validity in 1926. Part of the difficulty with demonstrating any of this is that for the most part, science operates from a materialism viewpoint, which means it has to be physically able to be seen and heard and manipulated and measured and proven in order to exist. That everything that exists can be explained by physical means in the world, which naturally means all this woo-woo stuff that we believe is, outside of that paradigm. If you're truly skeptical, what that means is, truly skeptical, what that means is that you're not sure, you're open to the possibility, but you're not going to just swallow it whole hog. You're available and curious, but not necessarily convinced. But the materialistic paradigm becomes solidified in our sciences to the degree that skepticism doesn't really exist. It's more like this has become the religion in the sciences. Now, if you're a scientist, I apologize, but that's kind of the paradigm for science, and it has been since the late 1800s, even though this idea is even older than that. So what happens when we're using that mind-to-mind communication as pre-verbal little tiny children and nobody's hearing us? Nobody's getting it. What happens as little tiny children when we have conversations with people that nobody else can see, or at least none of the adults around us? What happens to that kind of communication? What happens when we discover that not only they can't hear us when we talk like that, but they can't see those people, none of that is real for them anymore? We filter it out. It's not important. It isn't real. We might even be told as little kids, oh, you have a wonderful imagination, honey. She's got an imaginary friend. How do we know it's an imaginary friend? We don't see it and hear it. That's all. Maybe we're the ones that are lacking something, not the little kids who are seeing those things. So I know this because I had a son who saw stuff when he was little. He came to me once and said, "Who was that man, Mom?" He'd been over in the kitchen talking away. It was evening. I was washing dishes and he was over there talking away, and I wasn't paying any attention. It was just us at home. He came over to me and said, "Who was that man? Was that man, Mom?" Now, what do I say to him? You see, I had a friend who was very psychic, and she used to come and do massage for me. She's the one, in fact, whose little girl and my son kept taking their clothes off. She was giving me a massage once, and Luke had been taking a nap, and he came in, and he was really sleepy. He was not nonverbal. He was old enough to talk, and he was sitting on the bed watching us, looking really sleepy. But he wasn't watching me or watching what she was doing. He was watching her here. He was looking around her here and looking above me. And she said to him, "The colors are pretty, aren't they?" And he went, "Uh-huh." He was looking at the energy signatures, the auras around us. Have you ever changed a baby on a changing table? If you do that, you'll notice they look up at you and they look around you. They don't look at you the whole time. They'll look around you. Now, why don't we all see that energy? Why don't we all see those spirits or whatever they are? Why don't we talk to those people? Why don't we hear our plants when they're telling us they want water, or our pets when they're saying, please don't touch me right now? Although they let us know in other ways too, don't they? We don't hear those things. We don't see those things anymore. We learn, Mom can't hear that. If I'm hollering for her in my mind, she can't hear that. My teacher doesn't see that guy at the back of the room who's smiling at her. My minister says I shouldn't say things like that because they're not true. I shouldn't tell those lies. So what am I going to do? I'm going to stop because it's getting me into trouble. Is this making sense at all, what I'm saying to you? Okay? So these are things that very likely these are abilities we very likely all had at one time when we were very tiny. But we no longer have them now. Now, some adults do, some people do, but it's much less than in the autistic population where they don't have another option. You see, if they're going to communicate with anybody, they got to find another way to do it because the mouth and the vocal, one verbally autistic person, just slightly verbally, said, if I want to speak, if I want to say something, I not only have to think about what it is I want to say and how to make that happen, I also have to think about the volume and the speed and the tone, and then I have to do the work to make it happen. Telepathy is so much easier. It doesn't take nearly as much effort. So that mind-to-mind communication, we stopped doing it because people aren't answering us. They don't hear us. They don't know. So we stopped too. But non-speakers in the autistic community continue to do it because that's how they learn and that's how they communicate with one another. But their messages are so much like the messages that we hear from mystics. Their messages are so much like the messages that we talk about in the science of mind. That greater consciousness, that I have used this example about an infinite library in my classes for years. That's how these kids are describing what they do. If they want to learn something, they go to this area where they have access to all of it. But it's not the same as, well, I'm just going to hang out here and read this book. One of the I can't remember if it was a parent or a teacher who was going back to school and was trying to learn something like having to do with physics. And it was very difficult. And she was about, partway through this book. And so she was communicating with this student that she was having real difficulty in this class and with this particular book. And the student typed back to her, put the book on your hand. So she did. And he managed to put his hand on top of the book. And he sat there for a few minutes. And then she said, he gave me a summary of everything I'd read up to that point and the main points of the rest of the book in clear language that I could understand. And I said to him, is this how you learn from any book? And he said, yeah. Now, how does that work? Because all of those ideas energetically exist in that book. One woman was given 3 little stones by somebody and told by the woman who gave them to her, I prayed over these before I brought them to give to you. So she said she didn't know what to do with them. So she took them home and she put them on the counter. And within minutes, her son came thundering into the room saying, stones, stones, stones. And she was like, oh, they're right here, okay, And he took them, and he took them to his room, and he set them up on the edge of his dresser and sat right next to them. And he told her, when she asked about it, he said they had good energy. He said, I need more good energy. One of the messages they give to us is that we need to uplift our thoughts. We need to think more loving thoughts. That it will help the planet and it will help all of humanity if we think more loving thoughts. This creates good energy and it lifts us all up as human beings. This is the stuff we teach in Science of Mind. So when I listen to it and I'm thinking, none of these folks have anything to do with Science of Mind. In fact, a lot of these parents never had any spiritual background at all, and they find themselves immersed into this. One of the technicians who went along with the doctor and the others who were participating in the experiments, he's an atheist. And he doesn't believe in anything woo-woo, very materialistic. So he was the cameraman on this thing. And she said after they went through all these tests with one of these kids, she found him in the other room with his head in his hands. And she said to him, what's going on? And he said, do I have to believe in God now? Because this whole thing was beyond his belief system, and yet he saw it, he witnessed it. How are you going to discount that once you've seen it, really? You'd have to talk yourself out of what you'd seen with your own eyes, which is what he uses for proof, right? These telepathic connections, one of the things the parents and teachers have said were, these kids are brutally honest. They never lie. And one of them said, you can't be given a gift like this and lie. God's gifts are good. You can't be given a gift like this and lie. So they're always engaged in this way. One woman said that her son would go up and lie down on his bed and he would pile pillows on his head to try and filter out all of the input around him so he could hear what was going on the hill, because everything was too noisy. All the people in the house, all the activity outside, it was all too much. Their connection to the spirit realms is also interesting in terms of those who have passed and those who were never human that they interact with. Somebody asked them if reincarnation happened, and they said, oh yes, but it's all at the same time. They have a very different perception of time than we do. They say time is not what you think it is. It's not this consistent, measured thing. Fascinating, fascinating. Crazy making. Ernest Holmes says, we're surrounded by an infinite possibility. It is goodness, life, law, and reason in expressing itself through us. With every prayer I breathe the breath of God. I breathe the love of God through me. He said, we are surrounded by an infinite possibility. It is goodness, life, law, and reason. In expressing itself through us, it becomes more fully aware of its own being. Therefore, it wishes to express through us. And actually, there's no way that it wouldn't or couldn't. There's no way that we can stop that expression through us. So when you get an impulse to do something kind or to say a kind word to someone or be welcoming or offer a smile, that moment, that impulse, where did that come from? We feel the impulse inside ourselves. We feel it move inside ourselves. But who knows but what some grandmother tapped you on the shoulder and said, wink at that little kid, or give a wave to that mother over there, or smile at this person getting into the elevator. Was that my idea, that impulse? I don't know. I don't know. Sherman Alexie wrote, the world, even the smallest parts of it, is filled with things you don't know. It's filled with things that we do not perceive, but we could. We might Somebody asked these kids, can anybody develop this ability to communicate this way? And their feeling is, yes, everybody can do this. It just takes some patience and some time. But in terms of being upset with people who were resistant or who were disbelieving or things, they would say, don't be upset with them. They don't understand. Just love them. Wow, just love them. So, who's having conversations in my house? We have 2 cats and a whole lot of plants. And I think, my God, I have been really rude to all these living beings. You know, they may be having conversations all the time with each other and with me, except that it's one-sided because I'm not picking up the messages. So I've decided, and you know, please don't call the guys from the rubber room. I've decided that I'm going to experiment with thinking of my plants and my pets, of course, as not only conscious, but communicating. We know that if you talk to plants, that they thrive more than if you don't. But why is that? Is it just because it makes the person who planted them feel better? I don't think so. Apparently, they're talking all the time. At least it sure seems that way. Brian Josephson, who's a Welsh physicist, said, I think telepathy exists. And I think quantum physics will help us understand its basic properties. And Blaise Pascal, who is from a long time ago, said, the last function of reason is to recognize that there is an infinity of things which are beyond it. The last function of reason is to recognize that all of that is happening, is going on. So if we want to go more deeply into that, it requires our openness, it requires our trust, it requires our curiosity, our willingness to consider the possibility that there is more, and that we have access to that more, even though we may not have experienced it consciously since we were very, very tiny. Carl Jung said, we should not pretend to understand the world only by intellect. The judgment of the intellect is only part of the truth. So I want to share a story with you. And this story is one that Dan Millman shared with Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen, and is reprinted in Chicken Soup for the Soul. And I've heard Alan Cohen tell this story also. Soon after her little brother was born, Sachi began to ask her parents to leave her alone with the new baby. They worried that, like some 4-year-olds, she might feel jealous and want to hit him or shake him, so they said no. But she showed no signs of jealousy. Sachi treated the baby with kindness, and her pleas to be left alone with him became more urgent. Finally, her parents decided to allow it, and Sachi went into the baby's room and shut the door, but it came open a crack, just enough for her parents to peek in and listen in. And they saw Sachi quietly walk up to her baby brother, put her face close to his, and say, please tell me what God feels like. I'm starting to forget. Please tell me what God feels like. I'm starting to forget. There's another story that we have that I've probably shared about a little kid coming back home. It's a rainy day, and the little kid is sitting on the porch swing with mom and takes a deep breath and says, it smells like God. Think of that. You know, we think in Science of Mind, we think about the mystery, the one, God, intellectually. But In this moment, feel the room. Feel the room. Just the idea of the possibility of this more. If there's a feeling of uplift or something within you that responds to what I've been saying, maybe it's our shared one mind consciousness that is actually the essence of God's attention, paying attention through us simultaneously right now and feeling uplifted in the very thought that we can open to this larger mind, to this larger wisdom, to this larger presence, and invite it to be more with us, more in our consciousness, to help us be more awake and more receptive, more respectful, more responsive. Does this make sense, what I'm saying to you? As something to consider? So coming back to Palm Sunday, just to wrap this up, and I'll tell you, I had the hardest time with this because as much as I wanted to share all this with you and thought it was important, part of me kept going, but it's Palm Sunday. You have to talk about Palm Sunday. Think about something you can say for Palm Sunday. Here's the infinite presence of Jesus with whatever consciousness he had, which certainly is more than the average human being, riding into Jerusalem and thinking, they don't understand. Just love them. They don't understand. Just love them. And the human part of him going, okay, this is looking like maybe could be a tough week coming up now. And yet did not take the colt and bolt off in the opposite direction, never to be seen again, but went right forward into it. I think of the bravery of people who come into the world as autistic beings, some of whom in the past have never had anyone to understand them or communicate, except maybe the hill, wherever that was then, whatever that was then. So let us consider now, when we look at people who look different or behave in ways that are different, if they have Tourette's, if they've been burned, if they're in wheelchairs, if they're missing limbs, whatever. One of the first things one of these kids said when he learned how to spell was, I'm in here. Hello? I'm in here. I can't show you, but I'm in here. I'm in here. Come and meet me in here. We can start to communicate right now, in this moment, to anybody we've misunderstood, anybody that has frightened us, anybody that we don't understand, anybody who seems very different. We can communicate on an inner level, whether their ears hear us or their conscious minds hear us or not. We can still give love. Now, I'll give you one example and then I'll stop. There was an example at Asilomar, our summer conference that we used to have every summer in August near Carmel, down in Asilomar, Pacific Grove, where Brian O'Leary, who was an astronaut, did this experiment with us with dowsing rods. And so what he did was he had one woman come up onto the stage with him, and he just held these loosely in his hands, right? They're pointing forward like this. He held them loosely in his hands, and he walked toward her. And as he got toward her, they started to open. Now you could say, well, he was doing that. I don't know, maybe he was, but this was pretty cool. So the next thing he did was he stepped back and he said, now I want all of you here. Now, Merrill Hall holds about 800 people. I want all of you here now to consciously send love to this woman. Just send love to her. And we'll see if it changes the energy field around her at all. So once again, he took the dowsing rods, holding them loosely, pointing forward in his hands, and he went toward her, and they went like this. something, now I choose to believe, something happened in her energy with so much love directed at her. Just love, that's all. We just were intending to send love. That's it. So I'm going to invite you to try an experiment this morning. And forgive me, Justin, you're the recipient. When Justin comes up to play music during the offering, do whatever you're doing for the offering, but then just send love to him. Just send love. I mean, he could soak it up. So just send love to him for everything that he's doing. Just send love and gratitude. And let's see if he floats out of here. So that's enough for now. Thank you. Namaste. All right. So, thank you. So now let's take a moment to ground this within ourselves, okay? So as we turn our attention within, we put our awareness on this mystery, this infinite presence, this beyond understanding, and yet so loving and familiar presence. This infinite one that we call God, this presence. Let us feel it around us. Let us breathe it in and breathe it out. And let us know together right now that all that we are is made from it. Nothing is left out. Every cell, every thought, every energy, every movement, outwardly and within, is that presence in us. And we love that in us. So I call forth and know for each one of us here in this place and everyone online right now watching us, that this divine is bursting with love within each one of us. And we are led and guided clearly on this day and throughout this week to shine forth this love, to just be that in the world without effort, simply allowing that divine love to flow through us and bless everything around us, the stones, the plants, the animals, the people, all of the earth, all of the sky, all of the universe, sending love out, not only into our earth and all the people and everything on it, but sending it out into the universe, beaming love out from this planet at such a high level of vibration that a boundless goodness is blessing all that is and flowing right back into our own lives right here, right now. And we are so delighted to be called to do this, to be invited into this, to be entrusted with this work of simply sending out love and letting it in. So we receive it now with depth. We let it do the work in us and to flow through us unimpeded into the world. And all healing comes forth out of this love. We let it be with joy and delight. And together we say, and so it is. Please stand and join me for the morning affirmation now. The deep within me stretches to reach the deep of the universe. The deep of the universe reaches back to meet me. I open my heart and mind to that contact now, and so it is. Thank you. You may be seated. Would the ushers please come forward as we prepare to receive the offering blessing. If you're with us online this morning and you'd like to make a donation, you can do that by texting the dollar amount you want to send to this number on the screen and then just following the directions. And what we're going to do is bless all of those offerings being given today there and in this room right now, and all the gifts that have been given, including prayer, that have been given to Golden Gate this week. So we do that by accepting it in our hearts and sending it forth from our hearts as well. So place your hands over your heart as we do this offering blessing together. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time, and so it is. Take it away, Justin. Love, love, love.
This inner space has the power to set me free. It's the cavern of creation and the truth of you and me. This inner space, an eternity of time. It's the moment of the holy now and the allness that is mine. This inner space contains all that I need. From deep within the invisible flows the living air I breathe. This inner space is flowing in my bones. It stirs my heart, it stirs my mind, every prayer I've ever known. And I say, breathe, just breathe. Now breathe this peace. This inner space is the ocean of your soul. And when you feel most broken, the truth is you are whole. This inner space connects us one to all. And though it would never push you, it will break down every wall. And I say, breathe, just breathe. Now breathe this peace. This inner space invites us to renew. In all my endless choosing, I become the chosen two. This inner space, it never knows a past. In a quiet place you can hear it, and it might just make you laugh. So I say, breathe, just breathe. Now breathe this peace of this inner space.
So we do, all of us here, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, send this offering out into the world as we use it, and we send it with a blessing for people to know more of what is real. And so it is.
So it is.
By the way, If you listen to podcasts and you want to hear that one, it's available on all the podcast things. It's called the Telepathy Tapes. I meant to mention that earlier, but I didn't. So, if you're a first-time guest, I don't usually talk about psychic phenomenon, but there you have it. There is an information table back here for you with all kinds of handouts on it. Feel free to take any of that stuff, and there are welcome packets. I encourage you to get a welcome packet from Galen back there. She's waving them around. And fill out that blue card that's in the welcome packet. She will give you, in exchange for that, a little book. That's our gift to you. And thank you for being here. It's also our invitation to come back and be with us often in the future, because we'd love to get to know you. Also want to say thank you to everybody in sacred service today, everybody that helped set up, Leslie, who did our wonderful altar this morning, everybody who brought goodies. Let's acknowledge and thank Justin and Amanda again, too, as well. Yes. All right. Next Sunday is Easter. How many of you have signed up back here for what you're going to bring and what you're going to do? Oh my goodness, that's quite a few. Very good. Do go back there and sign up. This is the last chance that we have to know what you're bringing, and it makes us a little nervous to know we're going to have 600 desserts and one ham. That's, not comforting. So at least go back and look with love on the lists back there. We'd appreciate that. Set up and clean up. We don't have hardly anybody signed up to help. So we'd really appreciate that. Setup will be out on the patio here because it's supposed to be nice, I think, next week. So we'll have our brunch out there after the service. Remember to wear your Easter hat. We are going to do an Easter bonnet contest, of course, and there will be some prizes for that. So please sign up for that today and plan to be with us next week. We're going to have live music. Jai Josephs and his band will be here with us next week. And we're going to have some special celebration going on also for our anniversary, our 42nd anniversary as a church. Visioning class begins this Thursday. If you signed up for visioning, please make sure you've registered through our website for that class so that you can get the Zoom link and get all the information for it that you need. It will be from 6 to 9 p.m. on Zoom. Do you want to say anything about it, Leslie, this morning? Okay, Leslie and Karen, two of our licensed practitioners, are going to be facilitating that class. And so if you have wondered about how to do visioning, this will be your opportunity to really spend some time learning and practicing doing that. Also, our next stint at the San Francisco Marin Food Bank is May 13th, which means that Ellen needs to know by May 6th if you're planning to be part of that team, because she has a limited number of slots. So Ellen's in the kitchen today, but she's the white-haired page boy. That's Ellen, and that's Paula. But Ellen will let you know how to participate in that if you provide your name and email her and let her know you want to be on that team. All right? Also, prayer. We want to encourage you to get prayer from Deborah this morning before you go home. That's available to you for free. You can also place a request in the prayer box. You can request prayer from our website, and you can make specific appointments with our practitioners for a full session, an individual full session. So for now, I'm going to have practitioners surround the room, and we're going to go ahead and join together in consciousness with all of you right now. So I invite you to close your eyes, to turn to your inner eye within. And I'm just going to hum a note, and I want you to hum it with me. Entering into the sacred vibration together, we do so with love, knowing that that resonance continues within us, that we are a manifestation of divine presence, and this is really the deepest truth of who we are. So we bless this lovely week before us in many good ways and open our hearts and minds to delightful, joyful surprises and synchronicities. We open to greater knowing, greater understanding, greater learning, greater healing, and we're delighted to be invited to do so and to know that it is taking place already within us right now. With gratitude, we let this word go into the law and simply let it do its work now. And together we say, and so it is. And please stand now and join us for the closing blessing and song. As we say together, I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is. Here we go. You know this one.
You are welcome here. 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 Our arms are wide open. There's room for everyone. Wherever you're going, wherever you're from, you are home. You are welcome here. 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 Whatever you've been through, you found us somehow. Wherever you are on your journey now, you are home. You are welcome here. 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 We 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 are welcome. We are welcome here. I am welcome here. You are welcome